channel, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. So guys, we have a special guest today. We have Natalia. We're gonna talk about healthy hair care. So Natalia, could you kind of introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be joining you guys today. Thank you, Yannick, for inviting me to join this interview with you. So I'm Natalya, my alias is Lois A, and I'm a medical doctor, but I'm also a hair care enthusiast. Though I do not have a degree or a specialty in the hair care industry, I have learned a lot about hair care along the years, and there's a lot that I want to also share with others and have been sharing with other women as to how to go about achieving a healthy hair journey. And that really is my goal, to just share as much as I have learned with you guys so that you could also develop a healthy hair regimen along the way as well. So I'm so happy to be sharing with you guys. And I really do hope that this interview will be beneficial to some or all of you.
Okay, wonderful. So first, we're gonna get into some questions and answer. So for the first question, we'll start with how long have you been on your relaxed hair journey?
Okay, so my hair has been relaxed for approximately, I would say, 18 years now. Yes, it's been quite a long while. I have considered going back natural a few times, but I haven't really gone completely over to that side in terms of my thought process. But I really do like having relaxed hair. I did enjoy my natural hair as well, but right now it's just a preference for me. And I do enjoy it. So yes, about 18 years.
Oh, wow, that's a long period. Could you tell us what are some of the protective styling that you have been implementing to have this luscious hair growth?
Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about protective styling first. So protective styling really is the act of protecting your hair ends. Because our hair ends are actually the oldest parts of our hair. And what happens is that with time, those parts of our hair that are oldest, which are our hair ends, start to deteriorate. And what happens is that they start to develop what's known as split ends. And split ends really is what happens when the hair strand itself basically just split. It can split in two, it can split in three, it can split in four. And when it starts to do that, our hair starts to thin and our hair starts to break. So what protective styling does is that it protects our hair ends to prevent its exposure to environmental factors such as the sun, the rain, the snow, whatever it is, and to just protect it in general and just to keep it comforted to prevent it from deteriorating to the point of split ends. And you have two types of protective styling. You have short-term and you have long-term protective styles. Short-term protective styles are like your buns. So buns in which you hide your hair ends, but you might pull down the bun by the end of the day. That's short-term because it only lasts for a day. Then you have longer-term protective styles such as braids and weaves and so forth and so on. So I personally haven't really been practicing long-term protective styles per se. My protective styles have been more short-term. So I always have my hair ends concealed throughout the day when I'm at work. So what I usually use is a clamp tape. I clamp my hair up in one and I tuck the hair ends away. And sometimes I might just put my hair in a bun. But then you do have your braids and your weaves, which are also protective. But I must say though, that those long-term protective styles can also be destructive to our hair if we don't do it properly. They're only as protective as the installation of the style, the maintenance of the style, and the removal of the style. Meaning, if when you install the style, is it's installed too tightly, or if the braids are too heavy, or if the weave is too heavy, then that could cause a lot of tension on your hair and that can cause breakage. If when the style is being maintained, we neglect to moisturize our hair, we neglect to wash the hair, we neglect to apply products to our hair to keep it nice and soft and moisturized, that could also cause breakage. If when we're removing the style, we neglect to detangle the hair properly, we don't apply certain products to help combing out the hair and detangling the hair, that could also lead to breakage. And what I have found is that a lot of our sisters sometimes put in these protective styles, but maybe they weren't installed properly, maybe they weren't maintained properly, or maybe they weren't removed properly. And as a result of that, when they remove the protective style, they have a lot of breakage and hair loss as a result. And then sometimes we're confused as to how is it that we had in this protective style for so long, but now I'm having a hair setback. And that is really because we have to ensure that we pay attention to all three sectors: installation, maintenance, and removal. If we don't pay attention to all three, we would end up with a hair setback, and instead of being protective, it could be destructive. So we have to really make sure that when we're getting our protective styles, that they remain protective so that they can do what they're supposed to do in terms of protecting our hair ends and helping us to retain length.
There's a myth that if you trim the ends or cut your hair regularly, that will help to promote hair growth. Is there any truth to that? Or if so, how often would you recommend one to cut their hair or trim their hair?
Okay, that's a great question. So I must first start by saying that growing up, I really hated trimming my hair. I thought trimming my hair was the enemy because, growing up, you just want to have nice, long, luscious hair. And I just felt every time I went to trim my hair, I'd be cutting off all the length. So I would neglect to trim my hair. But I've since learned that trimming is absolutely important. As a matter of fact, I got a trim just yesterday. Why? Going back to split ends. Split ends, when they form on the ends of our hair, they're going to continue along that hair strand and they're not going to stop. So once your hair starts splitting, it's best to cut it off as early as possible, because the longer you take to cut that split end off is the more you're going to have to cut off your hair when you eventually decide to get a trim. Because as I said, the split is not going to come back together. Once the hair ends start to separate, it's going to continue to separate, and it's going to continue to separate all the way up to the hair strand. And as I also said before, these split ends give an illusion of thinness, and these split ends start to tangle up with each other. And when they do that, you try to comb through your hair, you have a lot of resistance because you're trying to comb through tangles. And that is because these split ends have formed all these tangles. And when you try to comb through the tangles, you end up breaking your hair, which forms more split ends, and the split ends form more breakage. So it's a continuous cycle. And the only way for us to end that cycle is by trimming those ends off. Now, how often should you trim? You should trim as needed. Meaning, if you trim your hair today and by next month you have developed more split ends, you should go ahead and get them trimmed. And that is only a suggestion. I can't really force anybody to get a trim. I'm just telling you that it's advised that you do, because once those split ends are there, that means you're holding on to unhealthy hair. You're holding on to hair that is not going to heal. So if it develops within a month, then get rid of it. Some people, split ends might take 3 months to develop. Some people are very, very good with taking care of their ends, and they may not have to trim that often. So it's all based on how often you develop your split ends. Once they develop, get rid of them so that you can maintain your hair health as best as possible.
Okay, so that the first sight of split ends, then it was recommended to get it cut or trimmed. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. So the next question is, for washing off one's hair, how often would you suggest to wash the hair? And also just tell me quickly the steps that you normally take in washing your hair.
Okay, great. So washing the hair is also somewhat of another personal decision. Um, Hair washing is really for two purposes. One is to remove the dirt and buildup from the hair. The other purpose is to add moisture, to add nutrients to the hair that may have been lost over time. So washing is not just to remove dirt, but it also serves the purpose of restoring certain nutrients to the hair. So you have to kind of decide, where is your hair? Is your hair dirty? Is your hair does your hair have a lot of buildup in it? Some people, that's within a week. Some people, that's within 2 weeks. And it really is also dependent on your climate. For instance, if you're living in a very cold climate, you might not sweat that much, so you might not have much dirt buildup and so forth, versus tropical climates where you're sweating your hair a lot and you may have to wash more often. So it's really dependent on your personal situation, as well as that mode of activity you carry out on a daily basis. Meaning, if you're very active, once again, your hair is going to sweat out very, very easily. So it's based on your climate to determine how often, as well as how does your hair feel. If you used to wash your hair every 2 weeks, but your hair is feeling very dry and brittle, that means it may need something to be added to it. And sometimes
Moisturizer.
washing the hair, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes washing the hair allows that because there's a concept known as deep conditioning. Moisturizing deep conditioning really helps to infuse a lot of the key nutrients that our hair needs. And that can only be done by washing your hair. Be able to understand when your hair needs and is lacking certain things. And if your hair is dirty, if it has a lot of buildup, then yes, go ahead and wash it. One thing I should say though is try to avoid washing your hair too often, especially if you use certain shampoos that include sulfate. Sulfates are very harsh on the hair. They do have their purpose, but if you wash your hair very often with sulfates containing shampoos, then it can strip your hair of its moisture. It could cause your hair to be very dry and brittle. So just try not to wash it multiple times per week. I personally wash my hair about once a week, and I'm fine with that. That is my target. So it's really a personal decision at the end of the day.
And also with the shampoo, it should be water based. Water should be the first ingredient.
Yes, yes. So yes, the shampoos generally do have water as the first ingredient, but then when it comes to things like moisturizing your hair, there's a concept known as moisturizing and there's a concept known as sealing. Our hair needs both. So moisturizing the hair is the act of using a water-based product in our hair. So that is the general maintenance of your hair. Whenever you say you're moisturizing your hair, if you're referring to the use of an oil, that means you're probably not moisturizing your hair because a moisturizer is a water-based product. So after you've used that water-based product, it is then recommended that you use a sealant, which is now an oil-based product, to seal in the water-based product. So it's two different concepts, moisturizing and oiling the hair. So it's very important that we understand what it means to moisturize our hair and that we don't think that we're moisturizing our hair when we're adding oils to our hair because we're really not doing anything without adding a water-based product first.
Okay. In the simplest form, just list a few steps like first you detangle your hair, then
Oh, yes,
yeah, what are the steps that you normally would
yes,
take before you wash your hair?
yes. Okay, great. All right. So in the past, my wash days were very simple. I would just jump in the shower, apply my shampoo, apply my regular conditioner, come out of the shower, and that would be it. But since I've learned a lot more about hair care in recent times, let me just break it down to you guys. Some of the things that I've learned that have been really helping my hair. There's a concept known as pre-pooing, and so I actually had my hair washed yesterday. So before I tell you, I'm just gonna just show you guys what it basically looks like right now. If you guys can see.
Wow. Look at the
Alright.
length and thickness. Oh my God.
Thank you. So there's a, and I also got it trimmed yesterday, which I'm very happy about because the ends are looking thin. So there's a concept known as pre-pooing, and what that really is the addition of an oil-based product or like a leave-in conditioner to the hair before you even start washing the hair. And I started doing this about 6 months ago. And why this has been found to be beneficial for our hair is that, as I said before, when you wash your hair, you're going to be stripping your hair from a lot of its essential oils and its moisture. So what pre-pooing does is that it allows you to add additional moisture and additional oils to your hair before you even wash it. And in doing so, when that shampoo touches your hair, even though it might strip your hair of some of its oils and moisture, it doesn't rid the entire oil and moisture. So you end up having back some oils and moisture left back to your hair, which is a good thing because without that, your hair is going to break. So I generally pre-poo my hair the night before or the morning that I'm going to wash it. And what that entails is me using some castor oil, Jamaican black castor oil on my scalp. So I part my hair in small sections and I put my castor oil in one of those applicator bottles that have the tip at the top. And I just
Yeah.
basically just apply it to my scalp. And on the morning or half an hour before I actually wash my hair, I kind of drench it in a leave-in conditioner. And that would allow my hair to be nice and moist. And the other thing is that Jamaican black castor oil has additional benefits. Jamaican black castor oil comes from the castor bean, which is a natural fruit. And what it has been found to do is that it helps to stimulate the scalp. And in stimulating the scalp, it helps to stimulate hair growth and hair thickness. And I really do think that my hair has gotten thicker over time. I've been using it for about 6 months. And I really do think it has been helping me significantly. So anyhow, I apply that to my scalp and then I go in the shower. And then I use my shampoo first and foremost. My shampoo is a moisturizing shampoo. You have different types of shampoos. You have shampoos that are based with sulfates. As I said before, sulfates tend to strip your hair, which can be beneficial in the case where you have a lot of buildup, like you've been using a lot of gels in your hair, a lot of moisturizers and oils in your hair for the week, and you want to remove all that buildup. So sulfates do have their benefits, but they can also potentially strip your hair quite a bit. So I usually use a moisturizing shampoo because I don't usually have that much buildup. And then after I use my moisturizing shampoo, I deep condition my hair every single week. And that is with a moisturizing deep conditioner. You have two types of deep conditioners. You have moisturizing deep conditioners and you have protein-based deep conditioners. The protein ones should really be used as needed, which is usually every 4 to 6 weeks, while the moisturizing one should be used weekly. So every single week, I use my moisturizing deep conditioner. I apply it to my hair. I then detangle my hair while it is in. And then I sometimes sit under my hair dryer to allow that heat to help the moisturizing deep conditioner to penetrate my hair strands because heat does help to do that. And then once I do that, no, I'm under the dryer for about 10 minutes or so. Sometimes I use my handheld dryer and then I would go and wash out my hair. With regard to the water that I use, my water, I usually use warm water. I don't wash my hair with cold water at all. It is acceptable to use cold water when you're washing out your deep conditioner because it has been found that warm water helps to open the hair cuticles while cold water helps to close them back. So you definitely want to start off with warm water to open up those cuticles first to get all the products in. And then at the end of the whole wash cycle, you can use your cold water and close back the cuticles. But I generally just use warm water.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll definitely use some of those tips when washing my hair going forward. Natalya, I thank you so much for all these detailed hair care tips, and I'm sure natural hair persons can use these tips as well. Guys, I hope you are inspired to grow your hair and to know that it's possible to have long, healthy hair. Look at Natalya. Head on over to Natalya's channel to follow her and also to just learn more about how to take care of your hair. Just remember that your hair is your crown. So you want to ensure that you put in the work in order to see long, healthy hair. So we have come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, Natalya, would you want to just tell them your handle for YouTube?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Yanni. Yes, this was a lovely session. Once again, thank you for inviting me. So my YouTube is Lois A, Hair and Health, Lois A, Lois A, capital A. And my Instagram is hair_and_health_Lois A. You can also check me on Twitter at Lois A. Yeah, so see you guys there. Thanks for following.